Fall has arrived. And even though we're still having above normal temperatures in the Dallas area, we're at the beginning of the dramatic changes in the seasonal weather that occurs in the Dallas area at this time each year. Now is the time to prep the lawn for the fall and winter seasons.
Welcome to Lawn Tips with Lou. We have made it through this summer's heat and drought. In my neighborhood, there were a lot of lawns that suffered in the heat and dry weather. My lawn continued to stay green because I watered regularly throughout the summer. I also fertilized my lawn regularly to provide nutrients to the lawn to help deal with the drought conditions. Because of the extreme heat we had with temperatures reaching as high as 110 degrees, I did scale back on the amount of fertilizer I put down on each application. Early in the spring, I had put down a soil supplement which was coffee grounds based. I do believe this helped the lawn throughout the summer season because despite the heat and drought conditions, my lawn looked very good this year. Even my crepe myrtles did very well this year, consistently blooming throughout the summer.
One area that I did have an issue in my lawn this year was in my front yard. We had an armadillo problem in the neighborhood this year. The armadillo rooted up the front lawn in my yard and several other yards in the neighborhood until one of the neighbors was able to trap the armadillo and took it to a remote area to release it. I didn't take pictures of the damage in the lawn, but the lawn is recovering because Bermuda is very resilient and recovers nicely.
I'm going to take a few moments to talk about pre-emergent weed control. As I talk about pre-emergence, I'll be showing video segments of my lawn care over the summer. Pre-emergent applications create a barrier at the top of the soil that stops plants from developing once they germinate. You'll see information on the packaging labels for most pre-emergents advising not to apply pre-emergence to newly seeded lawns, but to only apply to established lawns. Pre-emergents stop the cell growth and ability to absorb water in newly germinated plants, which ultimately kills the plants. This is how pre-emergents control weeds in established lawns, by stopping the growth of newly germinated weeds. September is a good time to put down pre-emergent weed control on the lawn. As the weather cools down, there are a number of weeds that begin to germinate in the fall, and if left untreated, will begin to emerge and grow throughout the winter season. To keep these weeds from being a problem in the lawn, a fall pre-emergent application is important to prevent weed problems in the lawn. If you already have a weed problem, the fall pre-emergent application will help to get the weed problem under control for next year. If you have an existing weed problem, you will also need to use post-emergent herbicides as well to get the weed problem under control. But a pre-emergent application will help to keep the new weeds from developing in your lawn. Weed control for an existing weed problem is not an overnight fix, but over time, you can get the weeds under control and have a beautiful lawn. And don't be afraid to bend over and pull a few weeds by hand. I do. Weed control chemicals do a great job, but they're not perfect. Pre-emergent chemicals break down, and I may see an occasional weed begin to grow in my lawn. When I see them, I simply pull them out by hand. It's a quick solution, and the weeds are gone. Because pre-emergent weed control chemicals break down over time, I have followed a fall midwinter, and early spring protocol for pre-emergent applications. When I first moved into this house, even though it was a new home with new sod having been put in, I had an issue with Poa annua in the lawn. With my fall, midwinter, and spring applications of pre-emergent weed control, I have eliminated the Poa annua problem in my lawn. Now that we are transitioning from September and going into the start of October, a few leaves have begun to fall from my elm trees. That means that I only have a few weeks before I will be putting my real mower away for the season and finishing the year mowing with my rotary mower. With my rotary mower, I'm able to mulch the leaves, and when the elm trees start to drop their seeds, I'll use the bagging attachment to bag up as many of the tree seeds as I can along with the leaves. Normally, I would prefer to mulch the tree leaves because the mulched leaves are beneficial to the soil. But because my elm trees are so prolific with seeds each fall, I've found that I need to bag the leaves to try to pick up as many of the seeds as I can. If I don't bag them, in the spring, I'll be pulling tree sprouts from my lawn for several weeks. As we move into October, we'll have shorter days, which means less sunlight during the day to encourage the Bermuda lawn to grow. As temperatures begin to get lower during the evenings, the lawn will also slow down in its growth. When the temperature falls below 55 degrees, Bermuda stops growing. The Bermuda lawn won't go into dormancy until we have had a freeze, but that usually does not occur in this area of Texas until almost Thanksgiving. As long as the weather continues to stay as warm as it has been, we still have several weeks left in this year's mowing season. As the mowing season winds down, we still need to look ahead to next year's mowing season. If you haven't put down your fall pre-emergent application yet, you still have time. I put my fall pre-emergent application on during mid-September, and I plan to put down another application of the coffee ground-based soil amendment to enhance my soil. Then, depending on the weather, I may put down one more fertilizer application. The weather forecast shows that we'll have a nice cool down over the next 2 weeks, but that's normal for October.
Thanks for watching this episode of Lawn Tips with Lou, and I'll see you next time.